I once conducted a forensic investigation into the allegation of royalty revenue being underreported. To date, the $60 million I identified and helped recover is still in my top 5 most recovered money engagements from a royalty audit. Businesses and individuals engaged in a license agreement must have regular royalty audits completed for a number of reasons. And these are just examples. For obtaining all the royalties to which they're entitled, to induce further compliance by the licensee. The licensee is less likely to underreport if they know the licensor is going to check periodically, and to determine if there is material noncompliance with existing license agreements. In this video, I'm going to explain reasons for contract noncompliance, benefits of royalty audits, how to conduct a royalty audit, and the benefits of a forensic royalty audit. What you learn in this video, you will be able to use straight away in your business. So let's go. Owners of intellectual property, or IP, often license their IP to a third party in exchange for payments based on usage, usually referred to as royalties. Licenses serve to capture the full market value of IP by providing the IP owner with the means to benefit from the IP without having to singularly expend all efforts towards manufacturing and marketing the products associated with the IP. Using different forms of licenses, the owner of the IP can engage in distribution and marketing of the invention by imposing appropriate terms and conditions of sale, use, and further development of the technology. A licensee is bound to contractual obligations within a license agreement. However, a core issue with licensing agreements is that most of these agreements rely upon the licensee to self-report the royalties. Let's talk about the issues in underreported royalties by licensees. The licensee self-reporting process presents a unique issue that licensees appear prone to misinterpreting the contractual language in the license agreement, and this leads to underreported royalties. The licensee does not know, necessarily, how to complete the report. Numerous reports on the findings of royalty audits reveal that underreporting of royalties is a commonplace occurrence. Licensees do not prioritize royalty accounting, calculation, and payments, as it is a cost center to the business and not a revenue center. According to one royalty compliance report, whether due to intentional or unintentional causes, up to 89% of audited licensees underreport and underpay royalties. Let's talk a bit about reasons for contract noncompliance. There are many reasons that exist for contract noncompliance, ranging from instances of fraud to simple administrative errors in data, misallocation of costs to underreporting profits, or errors in performing the calculation itself. Some of the more common reasons for noncompliance with licensing agreements include the following: intentional fraud or reckless misinterpretations of the contractual agreement. Companies sometimes are selling or transferring licensee product to related parties in transactions that do not reflect an arm's length sale. Unintentional mistakes in interpreting the license agreement. Intentional or unintentional omission of new, updated, or changed products. And inappropriate or contractual deductions in the calculation. The way the company applies rebates, discounts, or other sales incentives to licensed products in a manner that underreports license-related sales. Inappropriate attribution of value to licensed products on bundled product sales. Let's move over to the benefits of the forensic royalty audit. The most obvious benefit of the royalty audit is the recovery of royalty underpayments. Evidence from findings of royalty audits conducted by auditors and royalty compliance investigation professionals suggest that royalty recoveries are within the magnitude of 5 to 20 times the cost of conducting the royalty audit. In addition to the recovery of the royalty amounts due to discoveries made during the actual conduct of the royalty audit, evidence from certain royalty audit case studies suggests that licensees will often report a self-corrected royalty amount from a self-conducted audit once they are informed that a royalty audit will be taking place. Additionally, the royalty audit has the potential to reveal the unauthorized use of licensed property. The unauthorized use of licensed property could be a troublesome circumstance for the licensor, resulting in possible damages to the licensor's reputation or creating legal risks. Conducting regular royalty audits typically has the effect of deterring inappropriate reporting of royalty amounts by licensees, regardless of whether the underreported royalty amounts resulted from intentional or unintentional actions. When I talk about intentional and unintentional error, I mean the difference between continuing and terminating a working relationship. Quite often, there is a symbiotic relationship between the licensor and the licensee. Neither can exist without the other. Therefore, a balancing act is required. The ability to audit serves as a powerful tool that the licensor should utilize on a regular basis. If a royalty underpayment issue does exist, it is the licensor's best interest to discover the problem before the expiration of any statutes of limitation. Let's talk about planning a royalty audit. Forensic royalty audit planning begins with the planning phase. Therefore, during the planning process, the audit team will work closely with the client, the licensor, to determine if there are red flags with regards to sales that should be highlighted during the audit. Some events and circumstances that raise the level of concern include a history of issues in communication between the licensor and the licensee, any analysis by the licensor that indicates the possibility of underreported licensed products, analysis that points to possible errors in interpretation of the licensing agreement by the licensee, any questionable reporting practices by the licensee, including non-reporting. During the planning phase, the audit teams should also work to develop a thorough understanding of both the license agreement as well as the licensor's interpretations of the licensing agreement, where interpretations may be applicable. While this should be done up front, the license agreement should be clear. They most often are not clear though. Conducting an audit at the completion of the first year of the license agreement is a great way to ensure all parties understand and interpret license agreements in the same manner. To the extent possible, prior to communication with the licensee, the audit team should become familiar with the licensee's accounting and royalty reporting methods, processes, and reporting. The royalty audit timeline and all required document requests should be then clearly communicated to the licensee. Our licensing and royalty experts perform complex contract compliance audits to determine adherence with the terms of license agreements and to determine the appropriate royalties are being accounted for. I have acted on behalf of clients in apparel, automotive, consumer products, film, television, food and beverage, live theater, music, and software. My clients include people who rely on their royalties to pay their daily bills, to Fortune 500 companies that generate hundreds of millions of dollars in royalties, extending their brand. Our royalty compliance services help our clients identify material underpayments and other violations of their licensing agreement that are often overlooked. I have helped clients recover hundreds of millions of dollars that would have been lost to error, whether intentional or not. We are known for striking the appropriate and effective balance between audit accuracy and preserving the integrity of the licensee-licensor relationship. We seek to avoid the disruptions audits commonly trigger by emphasizing open communication, efficient investigation methods, and efficiencies through planning and appropriate staffing. To find out more about me and the services we offer, please visit uncoverfraud.com, and also feel free to reach out directly to me. What is a forensic royalty audit and who should conduct the investigation? A royalty audit is an analysis or investigation of a licensee's compliance with a contractual license agreement. Financial compliance is generally determined through an examination of the accounting books and records of the licensee and its sub-licensees. Evidence from royalty audits suggest a significant high level of royalty contract non-compliance on the part of the licensee. Licensees are inclined to underreport royalty amounts through a variety of methods. Therefore, experienced forensic accountants are typically better suited to successfully conduct royalty audit functions involving any schemes or mechanisms to conceal the correct royalty amount due. Royalty audits at times turn into legal disputes. The forensic professionals have the skills tailored to perform the royalty audit and identify fraud or misrepresentation. Engaging the services of an experienced forensic accountant with royalty audit experience is especially prudent when there is a possibility of contentious disagreement and litigation associated with the royalty audit. Let's talk about the execution of the forensic royalty audit. During a royalty audit, certain key procedures should be undertaken. As previously mentioned, the forensic royalty audit team should gain a thorough understanding of the licensing agreements, as well as a solid understanding of the way the licensor interprets the licensing agreement. Most royalty audits are based on testing some form of sales. For example, unit, gross, or net, and careful consideration should be given to these calculations. Special attention should also be given to ambiguous contract language, especially when the possibility of litigation over royalty payments exists. Examples of common contract provisions that require special consideration include the adjustments made to sales in arriving at net sales. Net sales is a common royalty payment base. The methodology for the allocation of sales returns by the licensee in determining net sales for royalty payment calculations. The basis and methodology for the calculation of tiered royalty payments and the treatment of subsequent products that utilize licensed property. The royalty audit team should recalculate the royalty amounts that should have been paid based on appropriate interpretations of the licensing agreement. The calculation then should be compared to actual royalties paid. The licensee's royalty reporting and payment records are tested for thoroughness and accuracy. Part of this process should include a reconciliation between licensee prepared royalty reports and the licensee's accounting records, such as inventory reports, invoices, and purchase records. Any differences between royalty amounts due and royalty amounts paid should be analyzed. And, to the extent possible, specific causes for the variances should be investigated. As mentioned, and what I've learned based on my experience, is that in most royalty audits, the audit team must also take into consideration the ongoing nature of the licensor-licensee relationship and take care to solicit direct, meaningful, and accurate information from the licensee, while maintaining a non-hostile approach that does not damage the licensor-licensee relationship. Let's talk about the techniques that are used. The use of data analytics in forensic royalty audits is a must. The volume of data and electronic information has increased substantially over the last few years. This increase is changing the way companies manage and extract value from data. Therefore, it is imperative that royalty audit teams have extensive experience in dealing with complex and massive data sets within the context of corporate disputes. Specifically, analysts should have experience in reviewing transactions and methodologies relevant to the licensing of IP in order to determine if royalty payments are compliant with the terms of the licensing contract. Data analytics methodologies must provide complete and efficient results through the creation of data warehouses and the utilization of data mining. This is typically accomplished through the use of various software tools, databases, and programming languages. A royalty audit is a contract compliance investigation that requires special forensic investigation and in-depth auditing skills. Licensors are well served by employing their right to conduct a royalty audit of licensees. The royalty audit is an important tool for licensors who want to successfully manage their intellectual property. This procedure serves to ensure that the licensor receives the agreed upon level of benefits in the form of royalty payments as outlined in the licensing agreement. Licensing agreements can and usually are inherently complex contracts. Further, evidence from royalty audits shows that licensees perform very poorly in self-reporting royalties. When the potential for litigation or disputes over royalty amounts is possible, the royalty audit should be conducted by a forensic analyst who is experienced in reviewing and analyzing complex financial information that may find its way to court one day. To find out more about me and the services we offer, please visit uncoverfraud.com. Also, if you found this video helpful, please don't forget to subscribe and like below. Thank you.